In first grade, that's when children start to lose their baby teeth.
Okay.
Remember when you were in first grade and you started to
Not
lose your
really,
baby
but a
teeth?
little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, what do we usually do when we lose our baby teeth? Your first child starts to lose their teeth. Your wife is going to, along with your child, wrap up that tooth and put it under their pillow and probably introduce the concept of the tooth
Yep.
fairy.
Yep.
And then you, Brandon, or your wife will produce some version of money or something else to swap out that tooth with, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That was
Now,
me too when I was young. Same thing.
okay. So this is what we're getting at. I wanted to teach copywriting skills at home. In first grade, that's also the time when the kids are learning sentence construction. We learned our ABCs in kindergarten. We learned
Hmm.
sentence construction in first grade. So at our house, what we did was we combined the two, the tradition and the copywriting. And I asked my children to write a letter, a request letter to the Tooth Fairy.
Wow.
So we had a tradition where they learned how to advocate for themselves in written form. I would help them, or my husband would help them with content. They would physically write the letter down. And then after they were finished with their first draft, because we all know in public relations that there's no such thing as the perfect first draft.
Mm.
Everything can be edited, right?
Yeah.
The question is how do you go about editing it? So never with a red pen, always with a bright, soft color. And I'd say to my child, okay, this is a fabulous first draft, understanding the concept of the first draft and also complimenting them to build their self-esteem. Now, is it okay if I show you another way to perhaps approach this? And then they say, okay, what's another way to approach it? Because I didn't say that they did anything bad. I just said it was a fabulous first draft. And
Yeah.
now we want to improve it a little bit. So I might change the spelling. I might suggest another word choice, something like that. And then after we had finished editing together in a nice color, then I'd say, okay, how would you like to write it over again and make it pretty for the tooth fairy? So then
Hmm.
they'd write it over again. So a second chance at practicing handwriting and getting the concept of subject, verb, direct object into their head. And if I was really lucky, then I have them write it in both languages because maybe the tooth fairy speaks English or reads English, and maybe they, they're better in a different language because they travel all over the world. So we might want to, we don't know what we're catching them at that evening.
Yeah.
Depends how much bandwidth they had, and that determined how much I would push in doing it in multiple languages.
That's
And then they would
creative.
take the letter, thank you, and put it in the envelope with the tooth, and that's what they would slip under their pillow. So that was the tooth fairy exercise and an example of how to use something you would do every single day in your public relations practice and applying it at home.